quick, short and sweet, because lack of battery, but also I talk too much. Damn. I was inspired by This Is Paris documentary, and it's so raw, so freaking raw. If you haven't seen it and you don't mind the spoilers, well, she talks about how her parents were so strict, like so strict. Her parents felt like they had no control, so they sent her to these camps where she could be like straightened out, you know. It didn't work out to the point where they had her kidnapped her. Like they had people come to her when she was sleeping in the middle of the night to take her away, and she was screaming and they didn't say anything. They was just like, ugh. And she went to this camp where she was physically abused, emotionally abused, even kind of sexually abused as well. Like, it's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. And she said that what saved her when she was there was being able to create an escape in her mind of like what she want her life to be. And as soon as she left, like that was her drive for success. But she felt really embarrassed by this, and she buried it as like deep as possible. And that wasn't even supposed to be the premise of the documentary. It's just that she got so close to the filmmakers. But you know, obviously she's privileged, so we can't really connect. Well, I can't connect on all the levels with her, but you know, I did connect somehow, just to the parts where my parents were really strict. And I was exploring, like, what does it mean to connect? Because we learn from each other. Like, I think I said that in another video, like when you talk to someone, you learn about yourself, or I learn about myself. But it's also like when I connect to the space or that I'm in, when I connect with the people, when I connect, damn, who am I? When I connect with a show, you know, it's like, what comes up that makes me feel comfortable? You know, what is it that makes me feel like I can relate, kind of thing. So I looked at connection, the etymology of the word, and two of the like really interesting ones. So circle of persons with whom one is brought into more or less intimate relations. That's 1767. And in 1862, it was one means of travel with another. Isn't that so beautiful? So when we think of connection, there's some sort of intimacy to it, right? Like we bring someone in, like we have to be vulnerable in order to connect. Because it's like that vulnerable part of us that connects with someone else's vulnerable part, if that makes sense. And what I really love is, it's like wherever we go, we bring our baggage somehow, like however we have dealt with it or not. But we also bring all the connections that we've made throughout our lives, and I think that's just so beautiful. But anyways, for this video, I want to talk about control and feeling anxious and how that manifests in different parts of our lives, or my life, now that I'm talking about it. So I connected with it because my parents were also very strict, and it comes from a place of fear. I think I've talked about it in another video. You know, them coming to Montreal, they met here, but you know, it's, my dad came here because of the dictatorship in Haiti, and he told me that once he got here, that's where he realized how much his life was hanging on a thread in Haiti. You know, like youth were taking away and were disappearing, and it's just like you never know if you might ever come back home or not. So that was his reality. And my mom, she came here, look at me like spilling tea on their lives on YouTube. Anyways, my mom, so there was a lot of abuse from her dad, and when she came here, it was more like she was 17, and it was a way to escape, but also because her sister was here. But she went through a lot being here. They went through a lot, like in terms of racism. It's very racist in Quebec, especially in those times. But also, you know, like poverty, not being able to have something to eat and stuff like that. So I know that they've seen a lot, they've been through a lot, so it makes sense that they want to protect their children. They want to make sure that they're okay, that they're safe. It makes so much sense, but it's like I couldn't sleep at my friends' houses, and I mean, I understand, like, you never know what's going on in someone else's home, and the parents, is there abuse, is there not, like, could you be a victim of it, or, what are the rules there, like, would they give you alcohol, and I wouldn't, and things like that, but, so I couldn't sleep, I couldn't watch TV during the week, and it's like, I get it, being able to focus on your schoolwork, but I couldn't go to parties and stuff like that, so I would sneak out a lot. Like, I would rebel a lot. So that created also some sort of conflict. Actually, they're here, so I should talk to them about this, to know where that comes from. It was really interesting. I just had a conversation with them about, like, the upbringing and how I felt it was a certain way, like strict and whatever, and like they felt like they were really pushing their own boundaries to be more open, loose, So it was really interesting to hear both sides, and have that open, transparent, vulnerable conversation about our feelings, because that's not something that was done a lot growing up. So I feel like we're kind of never too late than never. But before that, I was talking about, oh yeah, control and fear and how that manifests in different ways. So for example, like if I hold on to a specific narrative, like when I'm not allowing myself to be myself, it's like, oh, I want to please others, or I'm supposed to be that perfect version of myself, which does not exist. And last week I was feeling pretty anxious, and it's like, oh no, like I did this and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, we all fuck up. The most important is owning up to it, right? But it's like, oh no, like I'm not perfect. What the fuck? I mean, that was the narrative in my head, like fucking up was not part of the perfect narrative, that inside there's still a part of me that wants to hold on to that. So me holding on to that story manifested in feeling anxious, right? So like my body knows, and is giving me signs of what to listen to and what to open my eyes to that I'm ignoring or avoiding. And also, I want to finish with connection, because I was having an interview like with this oral history training that I have. We have to do peer interviews to see how to lead interviews, and someone asked me about what I meant by connection, and I said being able to be vulnerable and also open in order to receive. So I understand why I connect even more with that definition. Thank you.